So this is a 2025 Genesis GV60, and this is Genesis's first truly electric car. This is the first electric car they ever released, and this is the only one built on a specific platform for it. This is kind of a compact, kind of crossover vehicle that seats about 5. Yeah, so let's look at the outside. We're going inside, and we'll take a drive. I think the first thing we should mention before we go inside the car is this key. I have a feeling this is a normal Hyundai key, just with a case around it. It's huge, and it's stupid. It's not practical at all. All the buttons are on the side, so there's so much wasted space, and you end up trying to, like, there's small buttons, so you try to find, it's so dumb. But yeah, so this is the outside of the car. I don't think it's a good looking car. I think it's actually quite ugly. Now, I know they have to do this for, like, efficiency, aerodynamics and stuff, so you get the best range. The range isn't that good either, though. It's like 248 miles for this model. I think its ugliest is at the back. This back, the Tesla Model Y, it kind of reminds me of, which I think is a really ugly car. It's just a weird kind of like Toyota Prius slope. So around front, you're going to have kind of these dual, Genesis is known for this, these kind of dual headlights. You're going to have the Genesis badge. Of course, you're going to have no grill, although you kind of have a grill down here and some sensors. There's no engine, of course, because it's an electric car. You have these kind of cool wheel designs. They actually left the wrapping on the wheels. We can show that off. I don't know about the side. The cool thing about this car is the door handles. It's the only thing I really like. They kind of pop out. It's kind of cool. This car also comes standard with roof racks, which I thought was really strange. Like, all the models, even the performance model, has roof racks on it, which is kind of interesting. Of course, you're gonna have your charging port. You can actually open it up from the key. You can press it. It should be pressure open too. I don't know why it's not working. This is the back of the car. You have like a brake light right here. You have the Genesis spelled out. You have a little camera here. You have these cool, again, two striped lights. And then you do have fake vents, but I will say this car doesn't have much fake vents, which I really appreciate. And then of course you have no exhaust because you don't need an exhaust. Okay, so let's go inside the car. I think the first thing I should talk about is this. So this is actually a Face ID scanner like your iPhone. So instead of, I guess if you don't have your key with you, it can read your face and just unlock the car for you. I don't know how well it works, but... And then moving inside, there's also going to be a fingerprint sensor. So let's say, I don't know actually how, so you get in the car using your Face ID and then you probably scan one of your fingers and then it just opens that, turns on the engine. Well, there's no actual engine, but it turns on the car. So speaking of turning on the car, you're going to see probably one of the coolest features of the whole car. So first of all, it says EV start stop instead of just start stop. So you turn on the car, right? And then the gear selector like spins. It's gimmicky, but it's so cool. I could do this all day, look. I'm not patient enough to wait for it to, there you go. You also need this cool animation every time you turn off the car. So the inside of this car is interesting. There's some really weird choices, like this huge gap between the climate controls and the center console. There's just like a lot of circles in this car. And surprisingly enough, there's a ton of storage in this car. So kind of have this cool like glove box tray, which actually is really deep. And then under the center console, well, here's your not the glove box, what do we call this? The center console storage. It's not that deep, but underneath this whole thing is a giant storage pack, and it actually stretches from the back seats all the way to the front seats, which is kind of cool. You could probably store like a cooler or something down there. So there's a lot of storage in this car, and the back seat, which we'll go to, has a good amount of legroom, and then the storage in the back is pretty good. So let's start on the driver's side. You're gonna get, all your controls for all the windows and stuff. You have your lock and unlock and your mirror controls, which I think this is kind of a cool feature, but so there's only one control, right? So if you want to go to this mirror, you actually turn the dial this way, and you can adjust the mirror. And if you want to go to the other mirror, you turn the dial this way, and then now you can adjust that one. It's a smart use of the space. And then the only thing I think is kind of strange is where they put the memory settings for the seat, which is like behind everything. It's right here. You get 2 settings, 2 memory seat settings. I mean, it's fine, but I actually didn't know they were there until I dug around the car. You have to find them. And then you have kind of like a smart car door handle. If I'm not mistaken, smart cars use this door handle. So the seats are really comfy. You're gonna get, you know, your lumbar support. It's like 10-way adjustable. And then you have your little, like, I don't know what you call it, like not a footrest, but like a pad that goes out. I don't know what this does. I've pressed it a few times and it's done something, and then I press it again and it doesn't do anything. Oh, it moved a little. I don't know what it does, because it doesn't do stuff 50% of the time. There's also one on the passenger seat, and again, it doesn't do anything. So this kind of brings us to the steering wheel. I think this is a very ugly steering wheel. A lot of Genesises have been doing this. I know they fixed it with the newer models. This is the newest model, this one though. And they still have this like one spoke steering wheel that kind of looks like old cars. And it's not only kind of ugly, but I like having this little column here when I'm steering, so like I can like grab it, but you kind of have to like go like this. You have to find like a new way. But yeah, so you're gonna have, you know, all your drive modes. You have, you know, a bunch of buttons. I haven't figured out what volume.
Broader network searches are available as connected services.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I don't want to subscribe to that.
I didn't understand that.
You have gear paddles. Oh, it's a voice assistant actually. Oh.
Sorry, I didn't understand that. Try saying commands to see what voice commands can be used.
I want Robux.
But I was not able to help you with your request.
Oh, okay. Just quit. This brings us to the gauge cluster and the main screen. So first thing about the gauge cluster, I don't really like it. You can't configure it at all. The only thing you can really put is like navigation, and you can't change it at all. It's kind of annoying. So it's really your standard gauge cluster, and I feel like they missed out because it's a screen. You could watch a movie on that. And then we have your big screen, you know, with all your controls on it. You can also put your navigation on this, and it's a standard screen. You're gonna see the same on all the other Genesis models, Kias and Hyundais. One of the funny things is like EV is like a light bulb with like a tree growing inside. Like all the different menus, photos are just not related to cars at all. Like look, climate. What's climate? Is that a staircase for climate? And then you got like voice memos, which is a microphone. So yeah, you can actually do voice recordings in the car, which is kind of cool. And then you got, wait, quiet mode is like a bedroom. Where's quiet mode? Yeah, quiet mode's a bedroom. It's so random. But so you can actually control that screen with this kind of like cool mouse touchpad. This also has ambient lighting underneath, and you can, like, you know, if you want to draw letters and stuff to type. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's really easy to navigate around. It's also a touchscreen. It's not too far away. The one thing I find annoying, like even my family is a Genesis, and the one thing I find really annoying is how buried stuff like the ambient lights and, you know, basic controls are on the screen. Like this car has like 56 different ambient light colors, but it takes forever to find it. So if we want to change, look, the ambient lights are green right now. Let's change it to a new color. So you have to hit setup. You have to go to vehicle. You have to go down to, you just have to keep scrolling to get lights. Then you go over, you go to ambient lighting. You click on ambient lighting, then you go to color. Then you can pick these colors, or if you want to pick a custom color, you have to hit this. And then you can pick your color, or you can just click one of those over there. And then your color's set. That takes forever. I wish it was just like one of those menus in the home screen. Just one of these, you just control the ambient lighting. So moving down, you have, you know, all of your climate controls. This car does not have ventilated seats. It only has heated seats. This is, I believe, the base model. Do your climate. I've had some issues with the climate recently, so I'll put it at like 80 degrees, you know, 80, you know, the high, and it will still let out cold air. I don't know if that's like just me doing something wrong with the car messing up. But for the past like 3 days, it's been an issue. But yeah, this screen is just kind of stuck like that. It doesn't really change. That's all you can do. It's actually kind of loose in there. You see that? It's like jiggling. And then moving down, you have that cool rotating glass shifter ball, which I think is really cool. And then since this is a base model, you're missing a button, just a blank button. And then you have like your camera, you know, all that stuff. And around this area, you're also going to get a little secret storage compartment. You press it. There you go. And then you have your, you know, your USB-C and your cigarette outlet, as well as more storage. This decent storage compartment. There's a ton of storage in this car. And then you're going to have your wireless chargers down here. I don't like when they put the wireless charger out of reach. Like sometimes, like with the Tesla, for example, they sit right here so you can actually see your phone while you're driving. you can't use your phone if it's in this compartment. And it actually has trouble charging my phone. Like, it'll just go on and off. Like, this light blinks every time your phone is charging, and it just keeps blinking on and off. So that moves us to the seats. This is a kind of a cool seat. You have a bit of leather, a bit of like, I don't know what you call this, cloth, a bit more leather. It's kind of a cool combination between the two. And my family has a Genesis GV80, which is the biggest SUV they offer right now. And I think these seats are 10 times more comfortable for some reason. You also can get the little, you can move the seat back and forth from the back seat. So let's say no one's in this seat, you're sitting in the back, you can actually just press these buttons on the side and move it instead of going all the way to the front. The one issue is, even though if it registers someone sitting in the seat, it won't lock these. So I could be sitting in this seat and someone could be sitting in the back just to mess with me, and they could literally move my seat all the way forward. And that's happened to me before in our car. It's just so annoying. So moving up, this rear view mirror kind of looks like one of the ones where, like, you know, you flip it up and there's like a backup camera, like a screen there. It's not, it's just really thick, but you do have, you know, your garage controls and stuff. You can actually put like multiple garages on it. You have a mirror, and then you have this kind of grab handle. This kind of thing right here is like on all the Genesis cars, it all looks the same. You know, you can turn on the lights, SOS button, and then you have this really cool panoramic sunroof that's actually open right now, that like closes like that. I think it's so cool how it opens and closes. Look at that. Now, it's not an actual sunroof that opens up like a window, but I mean, it's cool. You get a whole glass sunroof. The only thing that ruins it are these stupid, what do you call it, roof racks. So moving to the passenger seat, it's pretty much the same experience, you know, just on the right side. I mean, you're gonna get less controls, of course. You get less seat settings. You don't get that little footrest thing. Here's what it looks like from this side. I mean, I think these seats are really comfy. Actually, the more I think about it, look, it's like everything is slightly tilted towards the driver. I didn't notice that until now. But yeah, everything's really easy to use in this car. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so let's go to the back seats. And you'll notice the back seats are very basic. I mean, you don't even have climate vents on the center console. The only climate vents you have are here and under the seat. I mean, it's fine. Most cars don't have climate in the back. You're also gonna get these cool, the ambient lights kind of slit right here. You have your window controls. You also have these really cool cup holders that are just kind of stand out right there. And then a little slot to put your phone in, which is kind of cool. And that's with everyone in the car. You can just like, there's a little built-in slot that's kind of hidden, and you can actually just like pop your phone in there. So yeah, you have your 2 USBs, and then there's another view of that giant cargo hole. And then we just go here. You just got cup holders. There's no like storage right here. And then you have your, you know, this lights and handle. Overall, the legroom's pretty good too, and depending on if you move the seat up and stuff, you can actually shove your feet like under the seat. And then there's still a decent amount of storage back there in the cargo cover. So right when you go to open the trunk, you're gonna notice where's the popper for it. Like, I couldn't find it for a while. It's pretty hidden. It's not here. It's actually down here. So you're gonna open that, and then there you go. So once you have it open, you're gonna notice there's a pretty decent amount of storage, and since these seats actually do fold down, you'll get even more storage if you remove the cargo cover tray. There's not much underfloor storage, which I'm surprised, because some electric cars, they go way down. And you know, you got your first aid kit that's velcroed, some mats, you got some lights. Actually, a lot of the soap from the car wash just got stuck there. And then if you really want to, you can lock the car when you close the trunk. So I haven't seen that feature on a bunch of cars, so I don't know if it's just exclusive to like a few companies. It's a smart feature though, because then you have to get out your key fob when you lock the trunk. And then this being an electric car, you're gonna of course have a front trunk, which it has a front trunk. You'll see. I don't know if I would call this a front trunk. I would say more like a front storage tray. And it is kind of inconvenient to open it. You know, you have to pull that switch. And then, okay, we have it open. So first of all, some cars, like I know Mercedes don't have front trunks because of a bunch of electrical stuff. This is kind of like half and half between the two, between a Tesla and a Mercedes. So you do have a lot of electrical components, and they're not really blocked off, so you can kind of see them. And then under this kind of engine look thing, there you have your front trunk. It's kind of a sad front trunk. I'm sure they would have made it bigger if they could, and I guess they can't. I don't know what you could really put here. Maybe like ski goggles, maybe a few magazines. It's very shallow, and you have to remember this thing closes, so you gotta put, I don't know, a few iPhone boxes. But yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing. And I guess if you really want to hide something, you could probably hide a ring in there or something. I think this car has a pretty good amount of storage though in general, and I feel like that little center pass-through makes up for it. So one quick thing before we start driving to point out about the inside of the car is, okay, I didn't mention there's also a heads-up display. But there's a really cool thing called a 3D manual, and I haven't seen this in any other Genesis cars. So it's a manual, like a 3D manual, I guess, if you will. Like, I don't know, if you don't want to read through like a paper manual or something, you can see the inside of the car. You know, you can see how everything works. You can like go back. I don't know. I thought this was like, you know, like in the Teslas where you can like scroll around, like you press this to open the trunk and you go here to open the doors. It's not like that, but it tells you about the car. Like you can see the door and lift gate and just brings you straight to the settings. Okay, so now we're gonna drive the car. My favorite part. So let me just talk a few specs. So there's a few different models. This is the base model, so 0 to 60 is about 5.8 seconds. If you get the performance model, 0 to 60 I think goes up to like 3.7 seconds. This range is about 248 miles of range. I think the most you can get is like 260. The range isn't that good, and this car is not a big car, but I feel like the battery should give you more range, which I thought was kind of weird. So my first impressions of this car, I think the steering's pretty good. It's about perfect. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. It's pretty sharp. The brakes are good. I had a question if there's regenerative braking or not in this car. I don't know if there is. I can't find out how to turn it on at least. The brakes are pretty good though for the most part. I don't know. The ride is pretty smooth. There's a few bumps, a little bumpier than the GV80. But for the most part, the ride's smooth. And being an electric car, you know, it's very smooth acceleration. Just like, look, it's going faster, a lot smoother, which is really nice. So it's a pretty fun ride. It's actually a fun car to drive. I just wish it was a little faster. This is an electric car, not a gas car. There's no sound, and all the sound is artificial. So you can actually pick the different sounds through the screen, like on a menu of what different sounds you want. So like there's futuristic, gas, and I think it's called electric motor mode. I'm on futuristic, so all the sound you're hearing is through the speaker system. Driving position's pretty good. Since you can move the seat up pretty high, you can see right over the nose of the car. Isn't too big either. There's also a heads-up display, which my phone is blocking right now, so I can't see it, but it's pretty useful. Again, I just wish you could really configure the gauges on this car. The only thing you can really do is change the drive modes and like change like the theme of the little you know, things that the rev lines or whatever you call it. But you can't change it. Like I can't move a gauge here. I can't like make this do this. I just wish it did a little more. I prefer real gauges. I think the screen thing kind of looks tacky. It's about 362 miles on the car. But you can imagine as this car, you know, gets maybe like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 miles, the range will go down. And I think my biggest concern about this car is, you know, the range is 258 right now, and at 50%, I was saying we get 108 miles at 50%, so that's not even 258 miles there. So you can imagine when the battery gets older, the amount of range you'll get, and that's concerning. You're probably gonna get like 150 on a full thing. You can't live on it. That's kind of unacceptable at that point. So I wish the range was more on this. I think you can expect when you get an electric car, the range just minus 20 miles off the range they're telling you on their website or when you buy the car, and that's about how much you're actually going to get. You're going to get less range when it's cold outside. It's a brand new car, right, and it doesn't have the Tesla charger, and that's a big issue, at least for me, because there's Tesla chargers almost everywhere and they charge very fast. You know, EVgo and all those chargers, it's just kind of a pain in the butt to charge with them. You know, it takes a while, and I have a lot of issues when it's like plugging in and paying for and stuff. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Ooh, look at the sky. The sky's all red. It's kind of cool. This car is nice and small though, and you can, you know, move it around stuff. It's not like a tank. Control. I don't know what these paddle shifters actually do. Oh, I just clicked them. They're not really doing anything. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, well, feature on this car too, and we ran through the car wash. I don't know if there's like a car wash mode or something. The issue is they bury everything into the screen, and it's just hard to find features that, you know, they even talk about online. So I can't even find if there is a car wash mode, or if not, or, you know, or even it took me a while to figure out how to change the ambient lighting in this car. this car is still quick. I mean, 5.8 seconds 0 to 60 isn't that bad. Kind of the rear window, like it's split, so there's two panes back there, and I don't know if I should look at that one or that one. And the area I really want to look at is the center, and that's where the giant black bar is. It reminds me of a Toyota Prius. I know also the Pontiac Aztec. You know, all these cars that have that kind of weird slope look like the Pontiac Aztec, and just like the Aztec, it actually has that double window thing, which is kind of funny. Let's see if my phone falls already. It also apparently makes a weird sound when it's going forward and backwards, like the reverse sound. Stupid sound. Let's hear it going forward. The sensors from the inside are so loud you can hear it. It's kind of like an orchestra sound. Interesting. The Tesla makes like a weird like wavy sound. I actually like this sound better.